Hey everybody, my name is Chris and I just wanted to go through today some of the updates we've made to eduTrips in regard to planning your trips with keeping COVID in mind. So I just wanted to start off by saying how eduTrips is helping educational leadership teams to gain clarity on their trips and help implement a rock solid trip management process across their organisation. That's kind of the point of eduTrips, and we do that by helping with finding, planning, authorising, risk assessing and running your trips. And that's kind of everything we try and do, everything we talk about is to try and solve those problems. So planning a trip with regards to in the time of COVID, obviously trips are being able to travel again from day trips at least from 1st of September. Hopefully residentials will come soon. So first we want to talk about the initial requesting of the trip. So we always recommend that you put as much detail as possible up front with regards to requesting your trip. So I'd say we just make sure you cover off the considerations around how COVID might affect your trip. This could be group sizes, could be staggered entries for your activities. This could be requiring additional consent for whatever reason. But just make sure we have a box on our form without other information. Make sure you're putting all those details in there. Make sure you're showing that you considered how a trip request, how you considered how COVID might affect your trip, just to make sure that when you do submit it for authorization, that it doesn't come back bouncing to you because you've missed off certain key points. I'm sure, again, you probably have had some internal discussions around about what's required for trips, so just make sure you are ticking those off. When it comes to your risk assessment forms, just make sure that you are we already have fields in there that basically cover off around illness and illness of participants. So we make sure you complete those forms considering COVID. So if you get to an activity and someone's temperature is higher than it should be, obviously how are you going to sort of mitigate that risk? And yeah, make sure and point there as well, just discuss with your local health and safety support team. I'm sure they're giving you guidance on this, but use our online guided form and make sure you can put in those details in the risk assessment. Again, just to make sure they get signed off and not bounce back to you with sort of obviously missed fields. And finally, we've updated our on-site briefing checklist. So when you're on site, we've put some COVID considerations in there. So if you need to make sure you've got face coverings, disinfectant wipes if needed, hand sanitizers, reminding people about the social distancing rules. So just make sure that you're passing those information across during your briefing, and we've got those points reminded during on the on-site briefing checklist that you can take with you or access on your mobile. So let's go through them really quickly. So enter your COVID considerations when submitting your trip, just make sure it gets approved first time. Consider the risk of a student getting ill when you're actually on the trip. So make sure that's in your risk assessment form, and run through the extra on-site briefing checklist fields that cover off the COVID questions. And there are three main points in eduTrips. eduTrips has always been built around sort of risk and safety from the very beginning. So you'll see that a lot of our fields already lean towards enabling you to put this detail in. But these are just some of the extra considerations to make sure you cover off. It would be great to hear your thoughts on these points. Put those in the comments below. If you do have any questions, then my contact details are there. Like I say, please comment below. Great, thank you very much.